In the course of my description of how the basic intervals of the harmonic series octave, fifth, and fourth can be arrived at with the aid of the monochord, it became clear that our ear can tell exactly when a string is correctly divided according to the simplest mathematical ratios. These proportions are physically rooted in us via our sense of hearing, and are thus a natural phenomenon. In fact, our ear is so designed that it actually corrects its hearing of inexact intervals. How often I have sat down at our out-of-tune pianos, both grand and upright, and winced at the first notes I pressed as I pressed the keys. Nevertheless, after playing the simplest pentatonic chords for a while, I found that form. The moment when I started to enjoy the music, my ear started to correct these inaccuracies. My listeners, too, as they adjusted themselves inwardly to these out-of-tune sounds, experienced this odd phenomenon. With all the intervals suddenly seeming to be in tune, only when the piece came to an end, and I took off my musician's hat, so to speak, did the out-of-tune sounds once again become apparent and unpleasant to hear. Even a piano that is in tune is, of course, not perfectly tuned, but equally tempered, i.e. the octave is divided into 12 equal semitones according to the method devised by Andreas Werkenmeister in the 15th century in order to make it possible to play on keyboard instruments the polyphonic music that was once then coming into vogue with its chords and modulations. Champions of tempered tuning invoke the tolerance of the ear to support their argument, maintaining that it perceives small variations within a certain pitch range as properly tuned notes, and is no longer capable of distinguishing or identifying quarter-tone sequences as intervals at all. To this, it may be objected that a musician engaged in playing unison melodic or modal harmonic music, which relates to a single keynote, immediately perceives any lack of tuning in the piano. The Indian singer Pandit Patakar found he was unable to sing his raga Bhairavi, corresponding to the Phrygian mode, when accompanied purely in fourths and fifths on a newly tuned grand piano. They are not in tune, he kept saying. For chromatic or dodecaphonic music, however, tempering is essential, even though it compromises the music's consonance. The criterion for consonance is the degree to which the harmonic overtones accord with the notes of any given chord struck. As a result of the equal tuning of the intervals under the tempered system, there are no longer any pure harmonic relationships. We get by only because our ear is prepared to reconstitute the natural order of things. Indeed, the ancients already knew that the inner man possesses all the proportions of a primal creative force. Octave, fifth, and fourth were held by the Byzantines to be spiritual sounds, pneumata, while the intervals of the third and fourth octaves of the harmonic series, i.e. the seconds and thirds, were called somata, bodily sounds. This is also the source of the theory that spiritual music can in fact contain only fourths and fifths, whereas worldly music, for its part, can have thirds and seconds as well. And in the Middle Ages, this was indeed the chief difference between church and folk music.